There's one demographic group that both political parties are jockeying for: Hispanics. Their numbers are growing, and they are keenly watching what Washington does on immigration reform. As of now, one party has a firm grip on their votes, and it's not Republicans. Post-congressional reporter Ed O'Keefe is here to tell us how House Republicans are planning to change that. Now, Ed, stand by. First, I want to bring in Matt Barreto, a co-founder of the political polling firm Latino Decisions and a professor of political science at the University of Washington. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Sure thing, Chris.
Matt, what is the outlook for Republicans right now? Do they stand to make gains? Their numbers weren't that great in 2010, 2012 with Hispanic voters. Do things look more positive coming up in 2014, 2016?
Well, they really are at a crossroads right now. They do have the opportunity to make improvements. It's not going to be hard to improve on the 20%, 25% that Romney had. But with the leadership that we've seen from some Republicans, from Rubio, from McCain, from Graham, on the immigration bill, they really are starting to turn that image around. What they have to do is to make sure that some of those anti-immigrant voices in the House don't spoil this turnaround and don't cause them further damage. So I think it is a really crucial point. They have an opportunity here, and we'll see what they do with it.
And Matt, I want to ask you about immigration reform, which you mentioned, passed through the Senate with the leadership of Marco Rubio and others. In the House, it's slowed. John Boehner has pledged not to take up the Senate bill in total. Real doubts about a path to citizenship. If there's a piecemeal approach that doesn't include a path to citizenship, does that give Republicans enough going forward message-wise to take to Hispanic voters?
I think that's going to be really hard. The path to citizenship has been something that not just Hispanic advocacy groups have been looking at, but you also have seen folks like Paul Ryan and a couple of other House Republicans say that they don't really want to support a two-class status, a citizen, non-citizen, people who are permanently in an underclass. And I think that'll be difficult. But if there is a path to earned legal residence, and that gives them an opportunity to then go on and apply for citizenship later, I think that would be enough to move forward. It just can't permanently take this group of 11 million folks and say you can never become American citizens. That's what I think people are looking at. So there's a lot of different ways around it. I do think there's wiggle room, and I think you'll probably see a couple of efforts. Will they pass? We don't know, but I think you will see a couple of efforts to get at least to that earned legal status.
So speaking of efforts, what are House Republicans specifically doing to combat these kind of dismal numbers they have with Latinos?
Well, they're doing everything they can to make sure that they don't look like, sound like, or get associated with guys like Steve King, who are those sort of ardent anti-immigrant voices. Congressman from Iowa, who's been out there very skeptical of these plans, and Republican leaders, the rank and file, all saying, we don't agree with that. We're trying our darndest to not appear to be anti-immigrant or anti-Latino. They know that they lost last year. They know that they've got to make inroads not only with Hispanics, but with blacks, with women, with younger voters. And so they're trying, little by little.
Ed, I want to ask you, because in the trying motif, tell us about a guy named Wadi Gaitan.
There's a guy named, Wadi Gaitan. He's a 24-year-old, recently hired by Republicans. He'd worked for Mitt Romney's campaign. It's his job to be the Spanish-speaking spokesperson for House Republicans. He gets them on TV, onto radio shows, and he serves as a bit of a Spanish tutor to a growing number of Republican lawmakers who are not Hispanic, but who either learned Spanish growing up or after college or as part of their job, and are willing to bite the bullet and go on Univision, Telemundo, CNN en Español, Spanish radio shows, and share the GOP message.
Con el congresista Trey Radel de la Florida. Congresista, gracias.
Representante Kathy McMorris Rogers. Se trata de Mick Mulvaney, uno de los nuevos integrantes del Congreso.
I say, hey, look, I've got to talk about the debt ceiling. Tell me, how do I say debt ceiling in Spanish? Or I need to talk about border security. How do I say border security? And then he lets me know.
Can I just follow up very quickly, Ed?
Yeah.
How do they keep that from being sort of trite? I mean, simply saying debt ceiling in Spanish is not necessarily a winning message for Republicans or for Democrats, for that matter.
The idea is if they show up, if they're playing on that court, at least they're going to get some respect, not only from the Spanish media outlets, but conceivably eventually from viewers to say, hey, you know what? I might not have known that if he hadn't shown up to tell me.
Now, you were talking a little about language, and you wrote a story about this. One of the stories that you mentioned is there was a little bit of complication with the word sequestration
That's right.
in Spanish.
Interesting thing, you think sequester, maybe the word in Spanish is secuestrar. Well, that actually means to kidnap somebody in Spanish.
That would complicate
So
things.
Wadi and others had to run around and telling people, look, be careful. We don't want to suggest that Congress is kidnapping people or that President Obama wants to kidnap people. The proper term is recortes automáticos, or automatic cuts. And then they tell them things like it's seguridad fronteriza, which is border security. So that's the type of thing that he does to sort of make sure that, hey, know those words and you'll perhaps earn a little more street cred.
Matt, I want to end on you really quickly. You heard Ed. What do you make of that?
Well, I agree with what Ed has said, that this is an important first step, that they do need to be out there. During the 2012 election, there were many times when the candidate and the surrogates would not even appear on Spanish language television. They would decline interviews, and part of it is just showing up. So they do need to do that and get their face out there, but they're going to have something positive to say. They're going to have something positive and welcoming to say about immigrants, as well as on these other issues, because at the end of the day, it's not just immigration. On many of these other issues, Latino voters are much more working class and middle class voters, and the Republicans are going to have something to say to them.
Matt, Ed, thank you so much for being with us today.
Great to be with you.